All right, already. You are looking live. It's sold out at Life Stadium where today the 16-0 playoff bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Cincinnati Bengals. And why are the Cincinnati Bengals 0-16? Because they suck. They never won a Super Bowl. They've been close a few times, but they've never won a Super Bowl because they suck. Cincinnati, you suck. And hey, thanks to Eli Apple on one of the last time they were in the Super Bowl, huh? He really hooked us Giant fans up. Way to go, Eli. You suck too, buddy. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all that's going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. If anybody's going to spend any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight, shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. If anybody got anything to say, please feel free, fire away, throw it in the chat box. Usually try to check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes or so. So as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free and fire away. But plus also, I mean, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes or whatever it might wind up being, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So once again, please feel free, fire away. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, the very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon. Second one's called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third membership level I got is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. If you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. But if not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you're subscribed to my channel, thank you. Maybe give this video a thumbs up or share it. That'd be freaking awesome. And then finally, also just a little ways down in the description box, there's 2 additional links. The top one's a Facebook link. I'll go over that in just a second. The one underneath it, I'm an old-time fart, can't stand change, like things just the way they are. I don't like things when people come in and try to change stuff up. I'm one of them, get off my lawn, kind of old-time farts, right? The second link, it's a Twitter link. It's always been Twitter to me, and it'll always be Twitter to me. Whatever letter of the alphabet Elon Musk wants to call it, that's on you, bro. I ain't calling it that. It's Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, I'll follow you back. That's an absolute promise. I put Giants-related stuff in my Twitter account every day. And then find the link just on top of it takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's very original, especially because my YouTube channel is called the same thing. I couldn't think of anything else to call it, so I called it the New York Giants, the Gridiron. But we have over 8,100 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I have internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group darn near 365. And not only do I put stuff in this group, but the members post stuff in this group as well, too. So between the members and me, there's a boatload of stuff, New York Giants information going in this group every day. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You won't be dissatisfied. I promise. All right, we're all that stuff said and done that away with. Well, I mean, it's just when you thought the season was over, boom. I sound like John Madden now. Boom! Just like that. Hit him like that. Run in the hole. Boom! Right? Boom! It starts right. I mean, they had some guys in, right? Voluntary. But if you look, I mean, big time guys were there. Right? Guys showed up for voluntary, like off season. What do you call it? Off season program. I believe it's called Phase 1. Got a little article. I believe it's Phase 1. They got some stipulations, some rules in there, like you can't be on the field for any more than such and such a time, or defensive players aren't allowed to catch balls, and long snappers can't snap the ball. They can snap it into a net, but they can't snap it to somebody else. And it's like, so I don't know who comes up with these rules, but okay. But anyway, just when you thought guys were, guys were do offseason, all that. Nope. Right. And we're right now we're Eli Manning days, right, away from the draft. Right now at the time of this recording, we're only a little over an hour from 9 days away from the draft. So draft will be here before you know it. I'm going to be going live. I'm going to try to go live Thursday and Friday next week. That's what I did last year. So I'm going to try to do the same thing again here. Go live Thursday and live Friday. The one thing was last year, right? The nice thing about when I went going live, for the first night, was waiting, and then all of a sudden, we traded up, a little bit there to get Tay Banks right in the first round, but we were waiting. So all this stuff was building up, and of course, I thought when the Giants were picking, had all those 4 wide receivers on the board, about 5 picks before the Giants. I'm like, Giants are getting a wide receiver, baby. Here we go. And then boom, 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 boom. Wide receivers are all gone. Then the Giants made a trade, right? So the cool thing about that was, you're waiting the anticipation. Then they picked Banks, right? So good pick, real good pick. And then there was a few more picks, and then the draft was over, right? So this time it's going to be bam right away, right? We're going to, and then I'll probably hang around to the end of the first round, I guess. Hey, you never know, right? Mr. Shane might want to. Crazier things happen. Maybe trade back up into the first round. Maybe grab that quarterback. Well, who knows? But so I'll probably be around throughout the whole first round of the draft. And then the second night, Friday night, I'll probably be live too, because we got a couple good picks going on. Unless we trade up or something like that. But hey, we got 47 and 70. Got a couple good picks coming on. So more than happy to be there. So yeah. Stuff's rolling right along here. Giants bringing guys in. We brought in apparently the big secret. I never heard of the guy, basically because he doesn't play in this country. That's why I haven't heard of him. But a lot of stuff going on. And let's see. I got so many things to talk about here. What's the first one here? And it is a good article. What is the first round quarterback success rate? Now, this is a pretty good one. So, just because you're drafting a quarterback in the first round does not necessarily, right, as Benny Hill would say, not necessarily guarantee you an all-pro or starting quarterback or whatever, right? Sometimes it's almost kind of like a flip of a coin, right? So, there we go. All right. There's an article here. It looks like it's from SI. Now it's just spinning around. Everything's. Did I lose my internet? No, still got my internet. Oh, there we go. What history is from Giants country? Patricia Trainer, but she's grabbing some information off of, I think, ESPN. Is it ESPN? You need or ESPN Plus. Let me see here and click on the article. I think it's ESPN Plus. Yeah, ESPN Plus. You need a subscription. I don't have a subscription to ESPN Plus. But our article here, and I'll make sure I share it so I can, so everybody can follow along here. There we go. All right. What history reveals about a first-round quarterback success rate? Basically, it says, when it comes to the first-round quarterbacks, for every Patrick Mahomes, there's a Ryan Leaf. As with anything, the NFL draft, regardless of round and position, is a crapshoot. Sometimes not even the most careful vetting can avoid hitting on busts. That applies to the quarterback position. For football enthusiasts who have screamed for the team to take a quarterback in the first round, the odds of such a quarterback being a total flop are on par with any other position. Right? ESPN's Bill Barnwell researched first-round quarterback success and bust rates in those quarterback-rich classes dating back to 1983. So it was going back almost like 40 years. It was 1983. That was like one of the best quarterback classes of all time, if not maybe the best quarterback class of all time. The quarterbacks were classified into 5 categories: Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers, franchise quarterbacks, solid starters, and low-end pro careers and disappointments. All right. The results were eye-opening, albeit not surprising. A whopping 44.4% of first-round quarterbacks drafted in those quarterback-rich classes ended up in the disappointment category. So basically, now, I'm not exactly sure. You got to read the article. It says you can see the finer details of his research in this article. Now, I'm not exactly sure. He's talking about quarterback-rich class. So, I mean, obviously 83 was one of them. But, I mean, I'm not sure if what a quarterback-rich class is. I don't know if it says it in that ESPN Plus article, what a quarterback-rich class is. I don't know. I'm not sure if this class here defines a quarterback-rich class. I don't know. But anyway, he was going. This article is just he does some in-depth research. That's for sure on it. You can see the finer details of his research in this article. So if you click on this article here, it takes you to ESPN Plus, and it's the article there. You can read a little bit at the beginning of it, but to read the rest of it, you're going to need a subscription. I think it's $10.99 a month. But to summarize the rest of the findings, out of 45 first-round quarterbacks covered in the study. So he just did 45 first-round quarterbacks. So I guess he must have just took specific classes because I think 83, there was like 5 or 6. Let's take a look. Hey, I ain't doing nothing else, right? I'm not doing nothing else. Let's see. All right, 1983 NFL draft. It's like 5 or 6 quarterbacks got taken. Okay, got some guy named John Elway. I mean, Garrett Dickerson, Kurt Warner, great running back there. Okay, so we got 1. Todd Blackledge, 2. Jim Kelly, 3. Tony Eason, 4. Ken O'Brien, 5. Dan Marino, 6. So 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round. Right. So, I mean, but obviously, I mean, you got Marino, you got Jim Kelly, you got John Elway. So, I mean, you got, 3 of the all-time greats, but 6 quarterbacks got taken. So, I mean, he must have taken, I don't know what, once again, you got to read the article. But as I said, I don't have a subscription to ESPN Plus. So maybe he went to 10 different quarterback-rich classes. I don't know. Okay. But I mean that would be pretty fair because a quarterback-rich class, to me, right, means a class, first-round class, right, that is deep, or they think deep in quarterback talent. So this is a very fair assessment of that. Okay. So out of 45 first-round quarterbacks covered in the study, 20% fell into the franchise category. 17.8% in the Hall of Fame, future Hall of Fame category, 4.4% in the low-end starter category. But basically what he was saying is 44% in the quarterback ended up in the disappointment category. So almost half of them were disappointments. So just because you take a quarterback in the first round, it's almost literal. It's almost like, okay, you know what I mean? So, I mean, if you want to go like that, if you want to, basically get yourself a quarterback, who might be, hey, just go back-to-back years. I know it's never it doesn't happen that way and all, but I'm saying, but first round of this year's draft, you take a quarterback. First round of next year's draft, you take a quarterback. There's your 50-50. One of them should wind up being a decent starter for you. So that brings us to the Giants and what they need from their quarterback position. And there is one thing that both supporters and detractors of current Giants star Daniel Jones can agree on, is that his injury history, 2 neck ailments in 3+ years and a torn ACL that could affect the one thing he's always been going for him, his athleticism. Yep. Because, I mean, you look at it, I mean, he did a decent job a couple of years ago, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions during the regular season. But, I mean, the one thing, which really, really helped was his athleticism running for all those yards. Now, to be fair, also, a lot of times when he was running, gaining all those yards, who was in the backfield with him? Not all, maybe all the time, but a lot of times it was Saquon Barkley, and he's bye-bye. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, how his running ability is this season. Although the Giants signed Drew Lock as a backup, that deal is just for one season, with no promises from either side to extend it. Well, I mean, hey, if he does well, hey, sure they might want to extend it, right? Giants also have Tommy DeVito under contract. While he's likely going to get a chance to compete for a roster spot if the Giants are expected to add another quarterback in the draft, it's going to be very difficult to justify keeping 4 quarterbacks on the roster, let alone likely having to keep 3 of them. In that case, Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan, if he holds up, would almost certainly land on the practice squad if another team doesn't come along and scoop him off waivers. Yep, that's if he makes it to the practice squad. But, I mean, he can even make waivers land on the practice squad, and then a week or so later, another team picks him up. So, but the thing is that the team does come and pick him up, they have to put him on their 53. Giants co-owner John Mara told reporters at last month's league meeting that the personnel department considers that this year's quarterback class to be one of the deepest in recent history, a good sign to mean that there is enough hope of there being more franchise type and solid candidates, with perhaps a future Hall of Famer sprinkled in. Ooh. Not surprisingly, the Giants have done heavy due diligence into the top quarterbacks that have identified as potential fits for what head coach Brian Daboll likes to run. However, when it comes to potentially trading up to get a quarterback, the Giants, a team still missing several key pieces on both sides of the ball, can be exchanged for precious draft picks. Need to exercise caution. Yeah, I'm not so sure. Because we all got to agree, right? I mean, we could use somebody next to Sexy Dexy if we can get a nice stud defensive lineman, right? We need at least one cornerback. I'm not sure, once again, how they feel about Flott in the slot, right? We got Darnay Holmes coming back, so but we really could use another cornerback. I'm not sure how they feel about the safeties, right? But we could certainly use at least a few guys on defense. And then, of course, you can certainly use a few guys on offense. I'm going to hold some reservation to the offensive line until maybe next season, because I want to see what Priscilla can do with the guys that we have. Now, the one thing, I mean, you got to, is that if Priscilla can make some of these guys here kind of functionable, is that a word? Functionable. There you go. You may not have to go hog wild in the draft, trying to draft a whole bunch of guys. I mean, if you can make something from a Zudu, right? I'm all for it, because those guys are cheap. They're young and they're cheap. So I have to hold reservation for the offensive line until like after the season's over. Let's see what Priscilla can do with what he got, right? Let's see who winds up landing. Does Evan Neal, can he stay healthy? Does he remain at right tackle, or do they slide him inside, or does he do so bad they kick him off there and they got Luminor at tackle and they put somebody else in there at guard? We'll have to wait and see. But I'm saying, so after this season's over, let's see what the offensive line looks like, right? And we can kind of go from there. That certainly would not stop the Giants from drafting a offensive lineman. But in the first 3 rounds, I would think not. I think in the first 3 rounds, they want a bang for their buck, even if it would be drafting a quarterback. Or saying if you're drafting a quarterback, that's for future considerations, right? I mean, that's not something you're going to be using this season, unless all the other quarterbacks get hurt. Right. They do draft a quarterback. They're probably going to be sitting on the sideline drinking a little Kool-Aid with the clipboard, right? Hat on backwards. Yeah. The headphones on there, right? Drawing up the play, whatever, writing plays down and stuff like that. That's what he'll be doing. Right. But, I said in the first 3 rounds, they're definitely going to want a quarterback or other guys that can maybe step in. And if not start, be big, nice contributors, right? So I'd hold the reservation. I don't think they're going to do anything with the offensive line in the first few rounds. But as I said in this article here, just because you got to take one in the first round, well, yeah, okay, yeah, but I mean, we took we took Dave Brown in the supplemental draft with that first round pick. Right? Didn't try. He had a long career. Yeah, he wasn't an unbelievable, horrible quarterback, but he just was not. I mean, if he was your backup, okay, yep, all right, I got a problem. I mean, I don't know if he'd take you to a Super Bowl or something, but could he win you a game or two or something? Absolutely. Was he the worst quarterback of all time? Nope. Was he a decent quarterback? Yeah, it was all right. Yeah, it was okay. But I mean, so you got him. I mean, look at it. We had Phil Simms, right? 79 wound up being okay, right? I mean, you also got to, put some context to this stuff too, right? When he was doing okay, right? We had the two Bills on the sideline, two Hall of Fame Bills on the sideline, right? We had the greatest defensive player of all time on defense, another Hall of Fame linebacker on defense, and we had to me, Carl Banks could be a Hall of Fame defensive. Could be a Hall of Famer as well, right? So I mean, we had a really good defense. So when Phil was doing good, he did, but anyway, he was a first round pick. Did good, Dave Brown, right? No, right? Then we had Eli Manning, hey, right? And then and then we got Daniel Jones, and it's kind of, Is Daniel Jones the worst quarterback in the world? Absolutely not. Can he win you games? Absolutely. These things have to be really kind of pretty good around them for him to succeed. Yeah. I mean, is he kind of damaged goods now? He might be, But, I mean, as I said, so you look like that, right? I mean, we can go back even farther. We got some Lee Gross Cup and stuff. I mean, guys I got, I was like, in the first round, some of those guys just not paying out at all. So just because I mean, of course, I'm talking about the 50s here, but, I mean, just because you're drafting a quarterback in the first round does not mean you're getting yourself, right? I mean, the Packers are like the exception, right? When well, I mean, if you look at the Packers, right, they had Brett Favre or Favre or whatever, right? But I mean, of course, they didn't draft him. The Falcons did, but they had him for however long. Then you take Aaron Rodgers in the first round. He sits for a couple of years. He comes in. He's doing phenomenal, right? You take J Love with special sauce, right? You draft him in the first round, right? And he sits behind Rodgers, right? So, I mean, and he seems like he's going to carry the torch for a while, right? So I mean, the Packers kind of the exception, right? But I mean, you got a lot of other teams, right? Just because you draft somebody in the first round does not mean you I mean, look at the Jets, right? I mean, this is going to be interesting. Let me share the screen here. I'm almost lost of words here. Almost at a loss of words here. Let's see here. Let me click out of this and go New York Jets. Draft history. New York Jets. Draft history. And we'll start after, of course, Joe Willie, right? But we'll go back here, Pro Football Reference, and we'll see how many quarterbacks they've taken in the first round. And then we can realize how many Super Bowls they've won with those quarterbacks. So we go back to 65 here, right? When they took Joe Willie. Okay, Joe Willie, Hall of Famer, right? 65. So we'll just start going. So basically, we're going to go 60 years, just about, in the future here. Okay, let's count all the quarterbacks that they've drafted in the first round. All right, 66. Wow, William Yearby. Oh, my God. Wow. What a swing and a miss that one was. All right, 67. Nope, center, running back. Wow, Lee White, they did some bad drafting. My goodness, wonder why they started stinking after that. Holy cow. Dave Foley. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Well, he played till 77. But anyway, let's see. Just look for quarterbacks here because they didn't have to draft one here in the first round. Well, they took John Riggins, right? Good pick there. They didn't have to draft one in the first round because they had Joe Willie. So after this, we're going to find Richard Todd. Let's see. Richard Todd, was he 76? 76. Okay. So Richard Todd was not absolutely unbelievably horrible. Okay. He was not the worst quarterback of all time. What did they say they have in there? 124 touchdowns, 161 interceptions. So not not a bona fide, not a bona fide home run there. So there's one quarterback they took in the first round there. There's one. Then they took Ken O'Brien. There's two. Two quarterbacks in the first round, and they're still looking for another Super Bowl win. Two. Browning Nagel. Oh, he's a second round pick, so that doesn't count. Okay. Let's see. Like they're passing on the quarterbacks here. They haven't taken too many. Mark Sanchez. There you go. He got him to a championship game. So there's another quarterback, right? So there's three quarterbacks they've taken in the first round. Right? Not that Sanchez was unbelievably horrible, but once again, just didn't get the job done. So that's three. Sam Darnold. Oh my God. And they traded up. They traded away 3 second round and an additional 3 second round picks to get them. So that's 4 quarterbacks in the first round. Obviously, Zach Wilson, right? And that's it, right? Okay, so they've drafted 5 quarterbacks in the first round, the New York Jets, since 65. I said basically from 65 to 75, they didn't need a quarterback because they had Joe Willie. 76 they took. So from 76, basically, so around the last almost 48 years or whatever, they've taken 5 quarterbacks in the first round, and they're still looking for a quarterback. Right? They're still looking to go to a Super Bowl. They went to one Super Bowl. They won it. 16-7, Super Bowl 3. They beat the Colts. But that was in the 68 season. Since basically from the 1969 season on up, they've never been to a Super Bowl. Right? So once again, just because you draft a quarterback in the first round does not mean you're going to a Super Bowl or you got yourself a home run there, right? All right. Next one here. Make your case. Now, unfortunately, this is Nick Filato. Nick Filato does a phenomenal job with the details and all this. So this article is about 342 million words long. So, it's just have to, cut it down to size a little bit here. You know what I mean? But basically, he's trying to make the case. Do you want Malik Nabers or you want Rome Odunze? It's about whether you prefer the player with the higher ceiling or the better fit. Ooh, okay. New York Giants have tried to find a true number 1 wide receiver since OBJ was traded to the Browns. The team has had 1 winning season since then and just 3 since their last Super Bowl win. Darren Waller was Joe Shane's attempt to give the offense a number 1 passing threat to complement Saquon Barkley on the ground while complicating defensive strategy on the opposite side of the football. It's safe to say that plan did not transpire as one would have liked. New York now possesses the 6th overall pick in the draft cycle with 4 possible top 5 quarterbacks and 3 blue chip wide receivers. It seemed unlikely a few weeks ago, but there's a realistic shot that Ohio State wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. will be available at 6. Before the 2022 pre-draft cycle, those covering the draft would have found the idea of Kayvon Thibodeau falling to 5 far-fetched. If all 3 receivers are available, Harrison Jr. would be my first choice. Malik Nabers and Rome Odunze are 2 receivers linked to the Giants. Both are different types of players that offer different styles. Nabers' burst is a sight. He should change his NFL number to 4 and give himself the nickname C4. I like that. I like that a lot because of his explosiveness. Very good. Odunze doesn't possess Nabers' twitch, but he's a smooth operator. Yeah. Technically proficient. route runner who is one of the best contested catch receivers to enter the NFL. Odunze is fluid for his size and more imposing presence than Nabers. Let's compare and contrast the two players. Now, Colson kind of makes he's a good, Odunze, a good contested catch kind of guy, right? But is that possibly one of the things why Golladay was on the sideline, right? I mean, he couldn't because they wanted separation, right? Didn't want to be, what Dable did not want was, all right, Golladay, you line up wide. I'm going to snap the ball. You just run, right? I don't care if I don't care if we have 13 guys on you. We're going to throw the ball up to you. You're the contested catch king. You're going to go up and you're going to catch it and come down with it. Be first down, 10 for the Giants. That's what we're going to do with you, baby. Now, what did he do? He sat on the sideline all year drinking Kool-Aid, right? So is it because of his contested catch, right? Is that's what he was, he didn't get much separation. Now, I'm sure Odunze can get better separation, but one of Dunze's things is the contested catch thing. So kind of makes you wonder, is that something that Dable wants in there where guys are good at just going up and getting the ball? Give me something interesting. So I'll try to, this is long. So I'm just going to try to, Now, Malik, they both got some, there's certainly, Malik Nabers is, very, just a phenomenal athlete. Did no measurements, drills, or workouts at the scouting combine, but performed at his pro day. Unlike Harrison Jr., here are the results from his pro day. About 200 pounds. Hands, all right, nice size, almost 10 inches. Arms, 31. Wingspan, 4.38. Very good, right? 10-yard split, 156, 2.54, and a 20-yard shot. Vertical jump, 42 inches. Very impressive. You at 40 inches, we're talking, brother, right? 10 foot 9 inches on the broad jump, bench press, 15 pounds. Okay, yeah, okay. That's, I'm not expecting a wide receiver, especially a 200-pound wide receiver, to pop up 30 reps on at 225. You know what I mean? Yeah, but he did it 15 times. He did more than his body weight 15 times. So that's pretty good. It's not bad at all. But that's not what you got him there for, right? So I'm just going to kind of go down, 3 seasons at Nabers caught 190 balls at a 275, 69%, right? He had 3,000 yards receiving in 3 years, 21 touchdowns. And his past season, okay, this is when they had, the 2 good wide receivers, right? You got Daniels as the quarterback, right? You got all these phenomenal talent all working together for this one season, right? 89 receptions, 1,568 yards, 14 touchdowns, with a very high 17.6 yards per catch rate, right? Let's see here. Nabers aligned across the offensive formation. 56.4 of his collegiate snaps were in the slot and 43 were out wide. So, almost 50-50. Kind of a little more in the slot, right? But, the thing is that, we got slots, right? So I'm not sure. I think he might be more, might have to want to put him out wide a little bit more, or unless they want him in the slot, you're going to put Waddle out wide. Unless you're going to go 4 wide and you have 2 slots, right? But his strengths, solid size, solid, especially for what he does, right? We don't need his quickness and all of that and everything. We don't need him to be 6'5", right? Fluid athlete, rare burst, excellent lower body explosiveness, breakaway speed, right? Balanced and controlled athlete, possesses excellent agility, lightning quick feet, evasive release, burst superiority, burst plus dipped shoulder equals, I guess, flexibility, rare squirt burst release. I'm not sure where these guys come up with all these words. Rare toe size. His pinky toe, the burst in his pinky toe is just outstanding. Highlight real concentration, excellent spatial awareness, Man coverage nightmare. You got like that, right? You're going to put man-to-man on him. You got like that, right? Short area athletic ability, quickly stops on a dime. That's impressive. Dominated on a slot, fades down in the end zone. Does a phenomenal job adjusting to passes in his general orbit. Is quick to adjust. Excellent catcher of the football. Soft hands. Solid strength through contact. Difficult for DBs to get their hands on directly after the catch. I mean, you look at him, he almost kind of like reminds you a little bit of OBJ, right? The line's all over the formation, is a 3-level impact receiver, which is huge, right? It's just not somebody's going to, catch a screen and try to take it to the house, or somebody doing crosses or whatever like that. I mean, he's, if he can hit you short, middle, and deep, cool. A solid blocker, adjusts his blocks well when the ball carrier bounces outside. Okay, yeah. But of course, everything's got some weaknesses. Solid, but not elite sized. No, he's not. His length is suboptimal. Lightning quick feet and lateral agility allowed him to defeat press, but a more developed release package would not hurt his game. Would frequently opt to run around the jam versus press rather than using his hands to mitigate the defender's use of force. Can iron out and maximize his skill set with more crisp, consistent routes. That's something you can certainly work on without question. Had 15 career drops, mostly concentration. That's, once again, that's something you can work on, right? But I mean, obviously, that's definitely something you want to work on. I mean, if you had 15 career drops in 3 seasons, that's, basically 5 drops a season. That's a bit much. It's a bit much. Not bad in contested catch situation, but wasn't physically dominant either. Arrested on Bourbon Street, so once again carrying an illegal weapon. So the charge was later dropped, but was he carrying a gun on Bourbon Street? And why are you carrying a gun on Bourbon Street? Why do you need a gun on Bourbon Street? So, I mean, once again, I mean, that's something, I can't say, I don't want to say that's a character issue or something like that, but, are we going to have this kind of problem when you're with the Giants? When we go visit Cleveland, you're going to walk up because you got, some friends in Cleveland, you're going to walk up and down the streets of Cleveland with a gun in your, you know what I mean? Are you asking for trouble and stuff like that? So, things are going to find out. You never know. Shane, he might just cross his name off the list. No, we don't want that. So, however, Odunze, right? Remember seeing him at the combine trying to do this 3-cone drill, trying to do it faster and faster and faster. What he could do, trying to press upon his score, get better on his score. That's impressive, right? Odunze caught 214 of 328 passes, 65% for 3,271, 24 touchdowns, averaging 15.3 yards per catch. He averaged 17.8 yards per catch in 2023. He secured 92 of 140 targets for 1,639 yards and 13 touchdowns. Odunze was the catalyst of a talented offense for quarterback Michael Penix Jr. He caught 65.7% of his 140 targets. An outstanding 75% contested catch rate. 21 out of 28. He mostly lined out wide, but it took 23.9% of his snaps from the slot throughout his collegiate career. So about a quarter of his snaps came in the slot. So you can put him either. But, the Giants have Wan'Dale Robinson. We don't really need another guy in the slot. We need somebody out wide. So maybe Odunze might be the guy. I'll have to wait and see. Let's see once again, he's got a ton of strengths. I look at this. Look at it. I can't even keep on the screen all the strengths that goes off the screen here. There's so many of them, right? Excellent combination of size, frame, and athletic ability. Uniquely fluid for a man of his size. Solid suddenness, feet to win and stack versus press. Quickly turns and orients his body in a controlled and balanced manner. Sudden burst, out of his breaks within 5 yards of line of scrimmage. Good overall route runner, good diversity, quickly accelerates, works into defensive backs' blind spots, elite tracking and concentration, exceptional body control when airborne, creates space and tight coverage, causes a lot of defensive holding. Very nice. That's good. Or DPIs. That's good. He's got just a ton of stuff. Attacks the football. Great hands catcher. Will be a mismatch wide receiver against smaller cornerbacks. Wildly impressive extension and sticky fingers. Sensational contested catch ability. Can make catches against tight man coverage. Excellent overall spatial awareness. Down here, you got it down here. Good overall play strength to shed poor tackling attempts by cornerbacks. Good and willing blocker. That's all you can ask for, right? A team captain with reportedly elite intangibles, right? Now if we think, in Shane's first draft class, I can't remember how many captains he was drafting, right? Captains reign supreme with Joe Shane with his drafting. So you never know, right? Smart, tough, and dependable. What the Giants want as guys? Smart, tough, and dependable. So, and again, this all could be for naught, right? Because Odunze can go 5, and you might have Nabers there. Nabers could go 4, Odunze can go 5. We can have Marvin Harrison Jr. Who knows, right? His weaknesses: he's a controlled athlete, not overly explosive. Long speed isn't a difference-making trait. Functional acceleration out of his breaks. Not bad feet, but could improve efficiency, consistency when releasing off the line of scrimmage. Something you can work on. May struggle to consistently separate against quality NFL court. Right? So, not bad with Yak, but I was left wanting more from a contact balance standpoint. Was stripped a few times and lost fumbles, 3. That's something you can work on. Tackled easier than expected, right? Odunze has prototype X size and is a smooth operator. Move that plays in a balanced, controlled manner. Let's see, his route tree is diverse, and he displayed advanced processing up his route stem on a vertical plane. Just a bunch of stuff here. Even having run a 4.45 40-yard dash. So, but final verdict. Just try to keep this one article under an hour in length there, right? There's merit to adding both of these players, and I won't be upset if either one is done. Giants blue. No, me neither. There's a rational argument for each size. The argument for Nabers is predicated on his game-breaking explosive talent. Giants are one of the worst teams in the NFL at creating explosive plays on offense. Boy, you got that right. Even in their 2022 playoff victory season, they ranked last in the NFL in offensive explosive plays, and that's a problem. So basically, the past 2 seasons, they don't get enough explosive plays. He says here, I have a higher grade on Nabers, not by much, but higher nonetheless. Nabers is just 20 years old, turns 21 in training camp, so he's just a baby. He's only 20 years old right now, right? I mean, man, if you had him for 10 years, he'd still barely be 30 if he stays healthy, if he can stay healthy. So then he says down here, he says, I love Odunze's strength, especially when combined with his baseline athletic traits. His concentration and body adjustment combined with his savvy route running ability and overall leadership profile make him a perfect replacement as the face of the once renowned Giants franchise, with Saquon Barkley now wearing green. The trio of Odunze, Hyatt, and Robinson give the Giants varying body types and profiles that allow the offensive play call more options against specific defensive looks. And don't forget about, Slayton too, right? So the Giants would have themselves some very, whatever, Nabers or Odunze, right? I mean, just think how young these guys are, right? Wandale would be in his 3rd season, Hyatt would be in his 2nd season, and Odunze and Nabers would be in the 1st season. That's what Shane's done. Each year he drafted Robinson. Then he drafted Hyatt. He's going to probably he's going to draft the wide receiver. Be shocked if he doesn't draft a wide receiver in the first few rounds. Shocked, right? So each year he's adding another piece to the puzzle as far as the wide receivers. We got Bellinger as our tight end. We do need another tight end. We need a receiving threat tight end. Whether Waller stays or goes, either this year or next year, we're going to need a receiving tight end. Maybe we can get that next year's draft, right? We have our 3 young stud wide receivers, and we have a decent tight end, right? Next year, maybe we can get that receiving threat of a tight end, whether in free agency or in the draft, right? But, as I said, you can see each year he's adding little pieces to the puzzle. And then also, like if we were to draft a running back, right? Last year we drafted Gray. Say in the 4th to 5th round this year, whatever, we draft another running back, right? So we're adding another piece of the puzzle. We're adding a couple. We drafted a couple running back. We got Bellinger. We're drafting wide receivers, right? Maybe we said maybe we wind up picking up a quarterback in the 2nd round. So he's right. He's in, right? So we'll have to wait and see. All right, then we got Daniel Jones. Well, I tell you what, he made some funny faces. If you look at him talk, he looks like, was it Woody, right? I mean, some of his faces he was making were almost kind of comical. Daniel Jones made some amazing faces during Giants press conference. There we go. I'm gonna. Yeah. He always says, yeah. He'll say, yeah. Yes. Yeah, there you go. He always, 2 years. He'll say, yeah, again. Yeah. Yeah. And he always says, yeah. Daniel, I see you. I see blah, 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 blah. Yeah. He always says, yeah. In every answer. Whatever the question is, he always says, yeah. All right. Daniel Jones is coming off a truly catastrophic season for the Giants. Yep. No one really knows what's in store for this New York Giants team in 2024. Nope. There have been numerous rumors suggesting the Giants are interested in taking a quarterback in the NFL draft despite Jones signing an extension last offseason. They've let talent like Saquon Barkley walk without doing much to replace it. Is 2024 supposed to be a rebuilding year? Do the Giants actually expect to contend for a division title? Nobody knows. Maybe that explains why Jones looked like a deer in headlights for the entirety of a press conference on Monday. Many comparisons were made by NFL fans to Adam Gase. Those comparisons are apt. He kind of looks like Woody to me. Awfully expressive for a press conference that amounts to a catch-up as the Giants embark upon the next stage of their offseason. If anything, I guess he does really look like a guy who is remembering rehab from a serious injury. Nobody enjoys going down that particular road. Absolutely not. And we got this one here. Says Giants taking a quarterback in the 2024 NFL draft won't affect his mindset, or is confident about his future in New York. Now, say this it is the thing right here, right? The Giants still have their 6th overall pick from the 2019 NFL draft, quarterback Daniel Jones, around and entering his 2nd season of a 4-year, $160 million deal he signed last offseason. He's most certainly be on the roster in 2024 since the G-men are on hook to pay him $36 million in guaranteed salary. However, coming off an ugly campaign in 2023 where he threw more interceptions in 6 games, 6 interceptions, just 2 touchdowns than he did in 16 games he played in 2022, where he threw 5. Let's see. His future beyond this upcoming season could be in doubt. Well, that's true. Does it have, I know it has it somewhere. There we go. Say the Giants would eat $22.21 million in the cap hit if they released him next offseason, but they would save $19.5 million against the cap by making that move, since Jones would be out of guaranteed salary on his contract. Yet he maintains he can still be the future for the Giants at quarterback position. He said, "I do, yes," Jones said. Clarity on where he stands in New York's long-term plans could come in just 10 days. Could come in just Eli Manning days. Absolutely. So that's the thing, is like with him, right? You look at it, right? Is that, if he's not the guy, if they let him go, that it's almost 50. They got $22 million in dead cap they're going to have to eat. But, right, they're going to save 19.4, right? And it'll give them added cap money. So, I mean, with that $19.4 million, I mean, once again, that's if, right? You can bring yourself in a really nice stud of a ball player. Now, whether that's a good cornerback, I was going to say a really good tight end, but I can't see like Kittle or somebody like of that hitting the market. But, I mean, you can bring yourself in a really good ball player, or you can bring yourself in two really good ball players. Two guys at $10 million a piece. So, I mean, if they were to cut Daniel Jones, right? They'll have some extra money to spend next season. And as it is right now, I mean, they'll have some money to spend next season. As they have a little bit of cap money next season. So I think without question, they can certainly bring in, like how they did with Burns. I'm not saying they can bring in somebody who's going to cost $30 million next year, but they can certainly bring in somebody, a nice ball player, somebody they can get a plug and play player, right? And then if they were to cut Daniel Jones, that's somebody else that they could quite possibly bring in, another plug and play player. So I'll have to wait and see. But Daniel Jones, he cracks me up every time. I think we did really good. Yeah. Always says yeah in every one of his answers. But he looks kind of like Woody to me. He looks like some of the faces he made. Oh, my God. Guy cracks me up. All right. Then we got. Oh, all right. Here we go. Now the Giants, the offseason program begins. Offseason program begins today, right? The Giants begin phase 1 of their offseason program on Monday. Players are allowed to be in a team facility for 4 hours, each under the following phase 1 conditions. 2 weeks. Limited to strength and conditioning activities. Dead ball, only strength and conditioning coaches allowed on the field. Okay. 90-minute max on the field. Clubs can only specify 2 hours for players to be at the facility. Players choose the other 2 hours for weights, etc. Dead ball explanation. I'm not going to. Like, quarterbacks can throw to receivers with no coverage. Okay. It's like it's amazing all the rules they got here. Kickers and punters can kick, but players cannot field the ball, and no snappers or holders can be involved. Long snappers can snap into a net, though. They can't. Long snappers can snap to a net. They can't snap to a kicker or a punter. Defensive players may not catch balls at all, regardless of who is throwing to them. Giants will have media availability via Zoom beginning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Head coach Brian Daboll, offensive coordinator Mike Kafka, defensive coordinator Shane Bowen, and special teams coordinator Michael Gabriel will all speak to the media. Select players will also be available too. So it's you gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. Things just keep on, right? Things just keep happening. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Now, apparently, this guy here that the Giants brought in, it's huge. This guy's huge, right? He's not even from this country, right? But somebody that, might pique the interest of the Giants in a later round, maybe the 5th or the 6th round, right? We'll have to wait and see. I said I would be absolutely stone cold shocked if the Giants took an offensive lineman in the first 3 rounds of this draft. Shocked. But, I mean, somebody like this guy, if they bring him in, I mean, if you look at him, I mean, this guy is just huge, right? We ran under a 5-second 40, did a 32. I'm going to go over the numbers. 32 or 33%, 30%, 32 or 33-inch vertical. I mean, just, a freakish athlete, right? So it says the Giants hosted the draft's best-kept secret for a visit, and he's a massive offensive tackle. Giants could always use offensive line help and may have just found a hidden gem. But the thing, it's not like, oh my God, the Giants are the only one that brought him in. No, other teams know about him. So if there's one thing that the Giants could always use, it's offensive line help. Absolutely, especially given how Big Blue's O-line performed last season. Gave up 85 sacks. Offensive tackle Andrew Thomas was the only lineman to finish with an overall grade, according to Pro Football Focus, of over 65. He graded out a 76.1, and darn it, if he would have graded better if he didn't have that pulled hamstring. Right. The G-Men's offensive struggles resulted in several coaching changes, including firing offensive line coach Bobby Johnson, who sucks. He just sucks. Right. And the team ultimately deciding to bring in former Las Vegas Raiders assistant Carmen Basillo. With a new look offense coming to New Jersey in 2024, we can expect several new faces, especially up front. Big Blue has actively recruited offensive linemen throughout free agency this offseason, and we can expect them to continue to bolster their offensive line through the NFL draft. Now, I mean, but also let's not forget, I mean, the Giants, I think, have like 14 guys, under contract. 14 offensive linemen. That's a lot. Certainly does not mean without question that they won't bring in more. But I mean, it's not like they have 5 guys and have to bring in another 15. Now they have a lot. They have almost 3 full offensive lines on the roster. Okay. But now, let's see. How about one you might not be too familiar with, right? University of British Columbia left tackle Giovanni Manu visited the Giants today, one of at least 7 pre-draft visits for the 6'8", 352-pound behemoth. So he's going to have, with the Giants, will be at least the 7th. We'll have at least 7 pre-draft visits. So there's plenty of other teams that might have some interest in him. Okay, Manu ran at 4.96 40 at his pro day. Not bad for 6'8". Okay, it's 352 pounds. He also visited the Cowboys, Giants, Jets, Patriots, Browns, Bengals this week. All right. Brought him in for a top 30 visit. Oh, he also did a vertical of 33.5 inches. Not bad for a guy 352 pounds. While it's unlikely G-Men will use their first-round pick to select an offensive lineman, Joe Shane and Brian Dable may find a hidden gem in the later rounds. Tom Pelissero reported that the Giants hosted University of British Columbia left tackle Giovanni Manu for a recent top 30 visit. The 6'8", 352-pound tackle has drawn interest from several teams, including the Jets, Patriots, Browns, Bengals, and Cowboys. The tackle ran a 4.96 in the 40-yard dash and recorded 33.5 inch in the vertical jump during his pro day, where half the league was in attendance. He did that after checking in at 6'8", 352 pounds. It's no wonder Jordan Schultz has called him the draft's best-kept secret. Huh? Hard to argue with that. I mean, this is him right here. Here's him right. Is he gonna be able to see it? Here we go. He's just doing his vertical right here. So, guy can get up there. I mean, yeah. I mean, 6'8", 350 pounds. Whew. Manu played basketball growing up, and with his formidable size, he received the nickname Baby Shaq. But he wouldn't take up football until 2013 when he arrived at Pitt Meadows Secondary School. He joined the University of British Columbia's Thunderbirds football team in 2019 as an offensive lineman and played left guard and tackle. However, he would convert to the team's starting left tackle by his 4th season with the program. Then we got 2023, the Thunderbirds achieved remarkable success, finishing 1st in passing yards and 3rd in rushing yards in the Canada West University Athletic Association. Manu played pivotal in the team's offensive success, earning him all-Canadian team honors. Right. Once again, but that means, that's in Canada. Right. This is the United States. A little different. Right. It's the football. I get it. You got to block and all that, but just because he did very good in Canada does not mean he's going to do phenomenal in the United States. Maybe he will, but it doesn't guarantee that, right? His under-the-radar status is set to change as he looks to continue his playing career at the professional level. With his potential, it's highly likely that his name will be called in the later rounds of this year's NFL draft. As the draft unfolds, we can expect the G-Men and other teams to monitor Manu's progress closely. He could prove to be a major steal for someone. And the thing is, like with that, all right, without question, right? Where they have him projected to go, I don't know. PFF doesn't even have them. So I'm not sure. PFF just takes United States schools, and that's how. But PFF, I don't think either have. I'm going to go over the tackles tomorrow, and the first 25 tackles, he's not on there. I said once again, they could just be specifically targeting United States schools and not going out of the country, right? But so I'm not sure where he's projected to go. Somebody could take a flyer on him, I don't know, 4th round, 5th round. But let's not forget the Giants don't have a 7th round. But if it winds up being where 6th round rolls around and the Giants have an early 6th, excuse me, I'm drinking too much, I guess. No, the Giants have an early 6th round pick and they take a flyer on the guy. Right, bring him in. If he works out, he could be the steal of the draft. Who knows? But then again, if he doesn't work out, or he just works out to be a swing tackle, or just some depth or something like that, it was just a 6th round pick. But it's hard to say because I haven't watched film on him or not like that. But I don't know if anybody's going to be taking a flyer on the guy in the 2nd or 3rd round, right? But 6'8", 350 pounds. That's a huge, under a 5-second 40-yard dash and 33.5 inch on the vertical. Guy's a heck of an athlete, and he played basketball, right? So he can move his feet and everything. So, as I said, I'd be shocked if the Giants, because the Giants have holes, right? And aside from taking the quarterback in the first few rounds, right? The first round picks gotta have meaning to it. It's got to have somebody. This guy fills a hole. So maybe we take somebody in the second, might be a quarterback, right? But then a guy in the 3rd round, right? Maybe a cornerback who can maybe fill a hole, right? So those early picks, we need guys who can come in and maybe not plug and play right away, whatever, but guys that can give some big time contributions. We can't take a flyer on a tackle in the 3rd round, and especially can't take somebody like him, or any tackle, in like the 2nd or 3rd round when you got guys who can play tackle on your team, and then and then you got Andrew Thomas and you got Evan Neal. That would just be straight up crazy, right? But hey, this guy might be a Giant somewhere along the line. So somebody to keep an eye on in the later rounds. All right, guys, it's been 1 hour and 3 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend time watching the replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.